Hi, viewers. Welcome to another episode of Untemplated. This podcast is, as you know, all about curiosity, technology, various cultures, and the choices that shape our lives. If you listened to my last podcast, thank you very much. Today, I'm going to be talking about some interesting topics that I think have helped shape some of my life, and I think it will be useful for the rest of you as well. So a few years ago, I came across this book called Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept, and the book was actually written by not written by a Japanese, written by somebody who's not from Japan. But in essence, the book defines Ikigai as something you love, something you're good at, something that the world needs, and something that you'll get paid for. So if you find something that intersects on all these four concepts, then you have found your Ikigai. But in reality, Ikigai is much more simpler than that. You don't have to go searching for something that meets all those four criteria and struggle throughout life trying to find that. Also, your Ikigai, it doesn't have to be the same throughout your life. When you are in the 20s versus when you are in your 30s or in your 40s, your Ikigai will be different. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. Your Ikigai can be something as simple as gardening every day, taking care of your plants, for example. Or it could be something as simple as um, you know working on a friendship where you meet someone daily for, let's say, tea, and you have pleasant conversations. um, that can be a ikigai, right? Or raising your children. People, my viewers who have children, and for them every day is raising your child every day is something very pleasing to you, something that you look forward to. That can be your ikigai. Okay, and it can change throughout your life. Think of it as something that makes you want to get up in the morning. You look forward to tomorrow because of that. That can become your ikigai. Don't try to make it something very formal like a job or something that you use to make money. In the end, the goal is to give you happiness, and you can find happiness in the smallest of things. In fact, even in the book, examples are given of like mending something that is broken. So you have a broken clay pot, spending time to mend that and paying attention to the detail, and then constructing it back again. That can also be considered as your ikigai, or something as simple as the pleasure you gain in making a cup of tea. So, for example, I like to drink loose leaf tea. Over here, I have a cup of or a glass of loose leaf tea, and I really enjoy this. Now, some of you may find this bitter or without sugar, but I really made my body used to it, and I think it's very healthy. But I find pleasure not just in drinking it, but also in making it. So to make loose leaf tea, and I'll probably have another episode solely dedicated to all kinds of tea. But this loose leaf tea I make using an infusion or an infuser in a kettle. So my kettle has an infuser where I put the tea leaves, and then I put water in it, boil the water with the tea leaves and the infuser, and then I let it stay brew for some time, and then I just pour it into a cup and drink it. And always make extra. So when I make extra, I pour that into a glass jar or a glass bottle and keep it in the fridge, and then I can drink it cold, like how I'm drinking now. But the process of picking the leaves, putting it in the infuser, and then pouring water into the kettle, watching it boil, listening to the sound of the tea boiling and this, and watching the smoke, and then pouring that tea out of the kettle into the cup. Those are simple things in life which you may do every day or every other day, and that's where you should find your happiness, in the little things. Right? These things can never go wrong. Will never make you sad, right? And if they do go wrong, you can always perfect yourself over time. So find little things like this that make you happy. Find your ikigai that way. Okay. Now, I I'm a Goan. So what I mean by is I grew up in the state of Goa in India, and Goa, in case those who didn't know, used to be a Portuguese colony for several years, for over 400 years. It only got its independence in the late 20th century, in the 1960s. And until then, Goa used to be a Portuguese colony. So what that means is it inherited a lot of Portuguese culture, be it in the way we dress, the religion, the food, and also the language. So what's interesting is being in India, people in Goa speak the common Indian languages like Hindi, of course, Marathi, because the neighboring state, uh, Maharashtra, is Marathi is widely spoken there. So a bit of that did come into Goa. And on the south, the neighboring state of Karnataka speaks primarily Kannada. So that language also bled a bit into Goa. But Goa's primary language is Konkani. The most spoken language is Konkani. And what's interesting is Konkani has derived several words from Portuguese. So you'll find words like uh, cuisine, which exist in Portuguese, also exist in Konkani. And there's an interesting word called Susegad. Okay, and we use this word very often uh, when somebody wants to relax, or when we want to do things at a slow pace. So if you see someone taking his time or taking her time to do a particular task, we say that you're doing it at a very susegad pace, susegad, or like do it at a very slow pace. It can often be mistaken to be lazy. That if somebody is susegad, it means that they are lazy. That's not true actually. So susegad, I think it is very closely related to ikigai. It's not the same as ikigai, but they can be closely related. The end goal is to do things at a pace that gives you happiness, right? So ikigai is all about finding that thing that gives you happiness, and Susegad is about doing that thing at a pace that gives you happiness. Let's take an example. Let's say that you like, I'll take the same example of making tea, right? Let's say you like making tea and it gives you happiness when you listen to all those sounds and see all those sights that go into, making a cup of tea, whether it's loose leaf or milk tea or Indian chai, it doesn't matter. But if you are doing this in a hurry, right? You have to rush to office in the morning and you have just 2 minutes or 5 minutes to make that tea, it's not going to be memorable, right? You're not going to remember the pleasures of making that tea. It's just going to be a hurry, job that you do so that you don't miss your bus, so that you don't, get into morning traffic. So you lose that happiness. So even though you found something that you like, which is making tea, you're not really enjoying it because you're doing it in a hurry. And I think that's where Susegad plays a big role, right? Doing things at a pace that makes you happy, at a pace that you enjoy. That is what Susegad is, right? So I'll take the example of gardening. So let's say you have rose bushes and other kinds of plants that need constant pruning. I need to constantly cut the leaves or remove the old leaves, remove the old flowers. You need to do this quite frequently, right? And some people, including my mother, have take a lot of pleasure in doing gardening. It's like the best part of their day or their week, watering the plants, pruning them, and cleaning the leaves that have fallen on the ground. So they take their time doing it. They do it at a particular time of the day, maybe when they are done with their day job. Spend 30 minutes to an hour just in the garden, taking care of it, tending it. Now, instead of 30 minutes or 1 hour, if you have to do this again in 10 to 15 minutes because you're in a rush, it loses its purpose. Then it becomes just like a task that needs to be fulfilled, and you won't get happiness out of it. You won't enjoy it as much, right? So I think these two concepts really, really go well together. Okay, and I realized this only later in life because I never heard about Ikigai until I was in my late 30s. That's when I read the book. That's when I got interested in it. And to be honest, those are the years when my interest in many more Japanese cultural things also peaked. And at that time, I understood Ikigai, but I didn't make the connection to Susegad. It's only a few years later that I realized that, wait, Susegad is also an important thing, and it's also very similar to this Ikigai thing. And in the book, in the Ikigai book, the book talks about Ikigai, but I think the main uh, feature in the book is the author had gone to Japan to a particular uh, area, and in that area, the average age of the people were like in the 90s. So people were living at a much older age, and he realized it's because of habits like this, because of cultural practices like Ikigai, is where people are living long. Now, I don't know if everybody wants to live long, but I'm sure that everybody wants to live happy, right? Whether you have a short life or a long life, you want it to be a happy one. So these people who are living way beyond their 90s in that place in Japan were living a happy life because they had found their ikigai. They had found things that make them happy daily, right? So I think even we, the rest of the world, should not only live for the sake of living long and prosperous and rich and being famous. We should also think what are the things that make us happy. Now you may think it's going to be money, right? The more money I make, the more happy I get. But if you really think about it, is that true? Are the people with a lot of money the happiest? Is the richest person in the world the happiest? Is he always happy? Maybe he's found his ikigai and he or she is happy. I don't know. But the important thing is find those things that make you happy. Yeah, I noticed that people in Goa also tend to live a long age. Many people live way into their 90s, including my grandmother, my mother's mother. She lived until her late 90s. And that made me wonder, maybe they also have a similar culture where try to do things that keep them happy throughout their life. And I noticed that people who are living into their 90s and beyond are actually finding pleasures in small things to do, like cleaning the house or taking care of their pets, or if they have farm animals like chicken, feeding them, taking care of them. So I started noticing this thing. So people in Goa do tend to follow similar practices like that, like the place in Japan. um, my mother herself, she runs multiple businesses from home, and plus she does gardening, and those things are things that make her happy. I can see that she's content when doing those things. So what I believe is these things, when we do things that make our mind happy, it puts less stress on our body, and therefore our body ages at a slower rate. The count number keeps going up, our age keeps going up, but our body doesn't have to wear out or get older at the same pace if we take good care of it, if we are happy, right? Not everything can be solved with medical science, right? There are so many terminal illnesses which today, even today's science cannot solve. But if you look at ancient practices like this, even if you look at yoga, for example, yoga teaches us to heal so many such diseases and to help our body in so many ways just by simple stretching or breathing. There are so many breathing exercises itself just heals us. So I think it's these are practices that we should listen to, we should learn, and we should learn to keep ourselves happy. It's easier said than done. Those who have been doing this or are doing this, good for you. I think you should help others in the world also do this, and stay happy and stay healthy. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, Thank you for listening. Stay curious.